Joining the show today is one of us through and through from her six seasons with Red Wing High School to her 5 years with your Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now historically drafted first overall in the first ever PWHL Draft to, you guessed it, Team Minnesota. Taylor Heise. Taylor, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And it looks like when we jumped in here, there was a little bit of chaos going on, wrapping up from something fun you guys got cooking up. You want to fill us in?
Yeah, so one of my teammates, Kelly Panic, works for Bally Sports, and she just knows how to roll questions off the tongue. She's made for the radio and TV. So we did a little baking segment. Baking is one of my hobbies outside of hockey. It's been something that helps me calm down. It's been something that I've loved enjoying. I did it with my parents, with my brothers, siblings. So I've done it for a long time. But we got to do a little baking segment, a little cook with me and Kelly. So.
And what's on the menu? What did you guys make?
We made chocolate bundt cakes and then did a chocolate ganache on the top. It's funny because I give up desserts for Lent, so I didn't try it, but she did. She said it was great. So we're just going to go off of that and then just kind of see where it goes.
Wow, that's brave of you to make something that you cannot enjoy yourself.
I got a little nervous. I started sweating a little bit, but Kelly is someone that's going to give me her honest opinion. So I knew when she said it was good that we were good to go.
Well, that's good. Okay, yeah. Well, typical opening question here on the show, and you're our third interview. In the first two, we had ranging responses. So be honest, how long did it take for you to see that the Minnesota Wild was not just a nature scene?
That's a good question. So I didn't watch hockey growing up or anything like that because I'm from a basketball family. And I don't even know when I figured out the Wild situation of the whole thing. I knew professional hockey was a thing, but I never watched. I never really went to games or watched. I would say I was about 11 when I was very unsure kind of what I guess it was. But then I kind of figured out the Wild, and now I've worked with them and I've done that. So it's been cool. But then I would say within the past 4 years, the logo and everything, that's when I started figuring that out. And seeing that there's whatever, there's a bunch of stuff going on with it. But yeah, I wasn't privy to a lot of hockey information as a child. So it was more NBA, Timberwolves. That was on the TV. Hockey never won the battle.
Like you mentioned, a basketball family, obviously your brothers play. They still play, right, in college?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what was that dynamic like growing up? Did you all play basketball in the driveway together? Were you playing on boys' teams too and that, kind of getting going?
Yeah, my parents both played college basketball at River Falls in Wisconsin, and that's how they met, actually. And then, obviously, when you have three kids that are decently athletic, they just kind of threw us into the basketball scene. In 7th grade, I had to pick between hockey and basketball, but I played all through my youth. My dad was my coach every single year. He coached my brothers, too. We were always at a AAA tournament in, the summer, AAU, anything like that. So in our driveway, we have a big driveway. We live in the country. Each of us had a hoop. 2 of them were drilled into the ground. And the other one was kind of one you could move around in case we wanted to do full court stuff. So we lived on cement, obviously, and we would do that. And you'd have to make a certain amount of free throws before you go in for dinner. And we would play against each other one-on-one. It took a lot of hits to the concrete with how big. My brothers weren't that big back then, but they're 6'9" and 6'5". So they're big boys, and I wouldn't be able to compete with them now. But in the past, we were very competitive kids.
Anybody call fouls? Did you, or they're kind of not part of the
because as you're a kid, you feel like everyone's against you. So you would be like, oh, there's an and one. And my dad would keep playing. And you're like, no, you're wanting Nathan to win, or you want Ryan to win. You're just being a baby. But no, we would get very competitive. We would go into dinner. My mom could tell who played against each other because we wouldn't be speaking to one another.
So how would you describe your game? Were you a Caitlin Clark sharpshooter, or were you kind of a power forward down low, or what was your game?
I would say when I was a kid, I was decently tall, but I wasn't right now. I'm about 5'10". I would say when I was playing in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, I was probably 5'2", 5'3", maybe 5 foot. I'm not sure, but I was always bigger than most kids. But usually when you're one of the best, you're the point guard. You got to dribble the ball up. Someone's got to get the ball off the floor. So I probably would be more of a point guard. Caitlin Clark's a point guard. Love her. She's actually playing at the U tonight. It's sold out, but I'm going to be watching it online. Very excited for that. I would say, I was a little bit of a mix of both. I could get in there and play on the post a little bit, but also I was shooting some threes. back behind, not logo threes, but behind the 3-point line, I guess. But a little bit of both. I feel like when you're tall and you're bigger than the kids that you're playing, it's just easier to do a little bit of both. I don't think I ever got birth certificate checked, but I was always much bigger than everyone else.
I remember asking you, met up with you before the season at the rink there before your opener, and you have such a cool story of how you got started in hockey. And I don't know how true it was or not. Well, you had a pamphlet or you had like a flyer in your backpack. I don't know who put it in there or how it got in there, but I'm sure the hockey guys are thankful for that. How did that actually happen?
Yeah, so that's true. One of my friends, his dad must have played college hockey, or he was just very connected in the hockey realm, and he wanted to bring it to Lake City. And we didn't have an indoor rink. We just had a rink that was taken care of by the parents of the community and some of the people from the city. So we had a little rink surrounded by boards that were wooden, and then a little area of like skating area. And sometimes there was gravel there. Sometimes there was like, it depended on how well it was put together. But to start, I never thought I was going to play anything other than basketball. I was convinced that was going to kind of be my destiny, and I kind of rode with it. But in first grade, the parent put out a flyer and was like, try hockey. You can come out and you can try it, and you can kind of be a part of something different. Obviously, Lake City had never known that. So I was like to my parents, I'm like, well, I might as well try it. I've done every sport. I did track, I did soccer. We didn't have lacrosse, but I would have loved to do that. Basketball, like all this, baseball, t-ball, football. Like I had done it all, and I played with boys for that too, because wasn't a lot of girls that wanted to be a part of that thing. I did punt, pass, and kick. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Went to like big places with that. I pedal pulled as a kid, like very like I would say masculine sports, but I just really liked the power and speed of it. But when I obviously got the pamphlet, they were like, this is like very out of our comfort zone. And they kind of laughed about it. But they did bring me. They brought me, and I got gear from like Played Against Sports, the Wild. Like there's a lot of things that, helped me out to get there. But it was a very weird story. But I really am very grateful that it happened, because I would not be sitting here today speaking my story if that were to be the case.
Like you did mostly outdoor rink stuff, right? Or like how did you just automatically could skate like the wind automatically, or are you kind of easy?
No.
Like,
So we have a pond outside my house too, which was not there intentionally for hockey or anything like that. It was just there for my dad's a big landscaper. He loves doing that. So I skated on that a little bit. That's also more so of when the ice is good. It's just like in town. Like my first year of skating, my mom was like, "You were the worst one. It was terrible." She was, "You were looking like Bambi out there." But I loved it, and I would get up after I fell every time and just like love it. And most of the kids, I called them babies. My mom was like, you would be ragging on them, because they would all be sitting in the warming hut eating snacks, and you would just be out there pedaling through. So it was a super fun time and experience. But to have, not only my parents support me through it, but other parents from other communities. Like I said, from Lake City. But Red Wing is where I ended up going to high school and things like that. So I think a parent must have seen me play a little bit outdoors. After my second year of co-ed, like outdoor hockey in Lake City, someone was like, maybe you should let her try something else, like more serious on an indoor rink, and see what she can do. And I ended up playing U8's girls hockey in Red Wing. So that's kind of how it all started.
I'm curious for your opinion on this, because like you talked about playing all the sports with the boys for a lot of the time, but then, started in girls U8 hockey. I saw just in my small community, like all of the girls that played boys hockey longer, like they all went on and played college. Right. And I don't know from your perspective, kind of seeing both sides of it, like playing all girls hockey, but then playing other sports with the boys. Like what are your thoughts on like girls coming up in hockey? Do you have an opinion one way or the other?
Yeah. I think since I didn't do it, I am indifferent. I think it's a mentality. It's a mindset. If you go and you play boys hockey and you don't have the right mindset, you're never going to survive. You're going to get eaten up. So I would say for me, I think it's very beneficial now to have a little bit of that contact, because obviously now in our pro league, it's allowed. A lot of the on the boards hitting is allowed, and it's quite physical. And I think some players who are now a little bit older grew up with none of that. And some of them maybe played boys, but when you're 25, 30 and checking gets introduced into your game, it's a little sketchy and scary, but we're learning through that. But I think as a kid, it's all mindset. I loved playing. I think since I grew up with brothers and I grew up getting the crap beat out of me sometimes, like I was totally okay with, playing football or playing tackle football or baseball, stop all those things with the boys, because I was like, I want to be one of them. I wanted to be where my brothers were. I wanted to be one of them and considered, I guess, cool to them. I don't know. And I'm the oldest, so I think it's weird with that too. But no, I think I'm pretty indifferent. I think you got to know your kids' kind of mentality and kind of where they want to go and what they want to do. And I think both sides, it's a good match, because I've seen both sides, and a lot of people can succeed in either way.
Totally.
When did I know everybody assumes that anybody who grew up in Minnesota wants to go to the U, right? I mean, I know there's a lot of college hockey in the state, but was that the situation for you? And like, what other schools were kind of recruiting you at that time? I don't know if you had to make a hard decision at that point.
Yeah. I knew, like, I loved my family, and that's the reason why I didn't go to prep school and didn't do all that. Like, I loved being at my house. I loved my family. I loved being around my brothers and such. So I knew that I wanted to stay semi-close, but I wasn't going to hold myself back. If I went out east and was like, oh, BU is where I want to go, or BC or Merrimack or all those places, I wasn't going to hold myself back, because I knew that college everyone says it's the best time of your life. And I will reiterate that till the day I die. I've learned a lot and made a lot of really amazing friendships and connections. So I would say when I was young, I was recently talking about this with someone. The first time you get recruited, it's super special and it's awesome. I knew that, I wanted to stay WCHA. I still think this to the day, best conference it's going to be for women's hockey for a long time. There's just so much talent in the Midwest. Not to say that there isn't out east and things, but we've consistently proven that year after year. So, it's a special thing to be a part of, and to know that you're wanted by schools and wanted by coaches and staff and stuff. I would say there was a 4-month span, and then I went to the World Championships as I think a 16 or 17-year-old, and then it kind of started hitting hard. I was getting 2-3 calls a day, sometimes 4. We had to iron them out of when I was going to go meet with people. I would say I probably talked to, almost all the Division I schools. So I would say like 40, maybe more. I knew I wanted to stay D1. I knew I was good enough for that. So I didn't talk to, I don't think, any D3 teams, but had a lot on my plate. I went to visit almost every, school in the WCHA, except for like 2. But I didn't know I wanted to go to the Gophers. I obviously knew I loved it, but I didn't grow up with the Gopher mentality. My mom's parents are obviously from Wisconsin, so they wore Wisconsin stuff around me constantly. They were, trying to groom me into it. But I didn't end up falling for it. Now they'll wear Gopher stuff just for me. But I wasn't someone that was born into it like a lot of my teammates who I played with in the past.
Nice. And I mean, you bring up the WCHA and it sends a chill down my spine. Like, it's been over a decade and still everyone that's a fan of the men's game will probably come out at the beginning of every season and be like, it's not the same. It's not as good.
Right.
But, I don't think anyone's going to argue that in the women's game, like the WCHA is unmatched. Got to talk about a recent happening here too with your old squad. Not sure how plugged in you still are, but did you see the play from Abby Murphy?
Abby Murphy.
Yeah.
She's crazy. I know her very well, and I've been able to play with her both Gophers and USA, and she is a special human being. I really don't think I've ever met anyone like her. She's going to do what she wants, and that's just how it is. And I've always told her I love her to death. She is a sweet girl off the ice, but she's got that spunk. And I've always gotten the question, like, who would you not want to play against? And it's probably her. Like, I think, like, she's such a talented human being. And I did see that. I saw a comment. Someone goes, with all the people hating on this is great for women's hockey. And, like, I would agree. I mean, any press is good press.
Yeah, for sure.
She's going to do what she wants. And I think that's you're not going to see the end of her. She's going to be continuing women's hockey and be in the news for the rest of her hockey career.
Well, and she's a marketing genius, right? Like, you do that right after Ridley Gregg did. And like, that was my post. I took the video and I'm just like, I just learned that Ridley Gregg's sister was a Gopher. And Nate Wells, colleague that covers as an insider for the Gophers for us on another show, he just sends it to me in a DM and then comments, Abby Murphy is who Brad Marchand wishes he could be. She
is.
In both goals.
I call her.
Neither are close.
Yeah, I call her Brad. She's the Brad Marchand of college hockey for women, for sure. No doubt.
I remember talking with Natalie, and she said she never wins in anything like board games or whatever. And so when they got the first overall pick in the randomizer drawing, she was like elated, obviously. And I was curious what your emotions were like around the draft. Like, you probably knew you'd be going, pretty high, but just what was the overall, who were you with at the time, and kind of what's overall emotions when you found out?
Yeah. I am like very type A. I like things a certain way. It's how I was raised. My mom hates it for it sometimes, but she's like, we've been teaching you how to be okay with new things. I think college was a major, like, not everything goes your way in college. You kind of have to find your way around it. But for the draft, I think it took me time to realize, like, the randomizer, it literally could have been anyone. And, I knew that I had put myself in a good spot to, go on the top, like, probably top 3, like anything in that sense. So it obviously did depend on who was going to get the top pick. When it didn't come out, I was like, oh my God, there's like 10 more days. I have to sit here and like, just like, not sure where my life's going to go. I love Minnesota with all my heart, and like, I'm going to live here in the future. So to know that when I found out that they got the first pick, I like had this emotion, just like my body, I had like an experience of it. Like I didn't know it was going to be me, but I knew that I had put myself in a good position. And I had worked my butt off to get to that spot. So, I obviously hoped and wished for that. And I knew a lot of people were happy about it, but that didn't really take away too much of the pressure. I knew that there was still a lot to go. But when Minnesota did get it, I immediately called my parents. I was like sweating and waiting for the announcement to come out. But then at the draft, the experience of that was awesome too. So all in all, it was a great experience, and it was something that I won't forget for sure. It was definitely a top 5 moment for me.
Yeah. I mean, was there any indication that you were going to be the first pick in conversations leading up to the draft, or were you just clueless?
No, I just knew, like I had said, like I had put in the work, and I have done something consistently like every single year and made sure that my name was at the top of a list of anyone talking about women's hockey. And I had proven to people that, I'm not going away. I'm someone that's going to be here to stay. And, I'm young, and I have a lot of years left in me, hopefully. So, obviously it would be weird if someone told me that I was going number 1 overall to start, and I wouldn't have liked that. I want to, be not only surprised, but know that I did it for a reason, and that I am there, and I'm put in the right spot. And, it was better when I didn't know, because I had a genuine reaction. And as much as I don't remember the moment, there's a video of it. So I'm able to look back and kind of watch it too.
Speaking of like top however many moments, I'm sure the first game at the X was probably one of them. I was there, and I went down in the stands and saw the young girls with the signs, with Taylor Swift lyrics and all this other stuff like that.
Yeah.
Moms were like crying in the elevator, bringing their kids down. And I know you were out there on the ice right before the game. Just how would you describe what that was like, and comparatively to what you kind of expected the league to look like when all the excitement was coming for it?
Yeah, I think I talked to enough people that have put on not only like so many sessions of the knowledge of the league and how it's going to go, and then just like people like Hillary Knight, Kendall Coyne, Lee Steckline, like people who I've played with in the past who have done the dirty work and have dug the roots and put them in deep and made sure that this is going to be something to stay. As much as you want to have expectations, I think people were very clear of like, don't have expectations, have excitement. Because whatever it comes with it, we just knew we wanted to play hockey. Like, yeah, you want to have the fans, yeah, you want to have the support, but like some of these girls have been waiting to play in a pro league for years and have sat out and trained every day by themselves. And that's one of the hardest things you can do. So to know that I had people who were backing not only me, but our league, and then to see that day, like I remember when I skated on the ice for the first time, like my heart dropped in my stomach. And I'm someone who's very competitive and very hard on myself. I've never looked at points as a way to describe my play. So I knew that I had to go out there and just do that, like move my feet, have a great attitude, and control the controllables. And I did all that in that game and took in the moment, and it was an amazing opportunity and something I won't forget for sure.
Like I'm sure there's a million of these certain moments, but I was curious if you have a favorite memory of interaction with a young fan, either on a road game or a home game, where like it really kind of hit you and connected with you, whether it's a parent or like a young girl player, everything like that.
Yeah, I think every opportunity I have to not only talk with the youth, but also women who weren't able to play the sport because it wasn't allowed or there wasn't a pro league and things like that. Those are very special moments to me. And I would say I meet a lot of really young girls and boys, like lots and lots. So I wouldn't say one specifically sticks out. I think the ones where I've either helped them in the past or done a camp with them or helped them doing shooting lessons or, anything like that. Those are the ones where I try to remember every kid's face, but the ones where the parents, you can tell, are just so grateful to have something that their kids can look up to, and then have someone like me who can, give them the tools and give them that like validation to be like, you got this. Like I was in your shoes. I started later. I didn't get to do this, that. So to have those opportunities to not only talk to youth, but to inspire some creativity and, some love within that community has been very fun.
Well, and Taylor, let's be honest now. The reason that there isn't a single fan that stands out as the best encounter is because it wasn't a fan that was your best encounter.
Right.
It was a dog.
It was a dog. Mm-hmm. I am a dog lover till the day I die. Anyone that knows me well knows that. So I go on walks. I live in Minneapolis. And if I don't see a dog on my walk, I'm very disappointed. But any dog that I see, I'm not a fan of small dogs. I love them, but I'm not a fan. I'm more of a bigger dog person, like a cuddler or a big furry one. Any dog I see, I don't care where it is. I am like, it's like a squirrel mindset. I can hear them. I can see them. And I immediately want to go pet them.
God, I literally had purse dogs on here as like a point of conversation. Like, are they dogs? Are they dog adjacent? Is it more of a cat? Like, how do we feel?
Yeah, I've never been like, I think growing up, like my grandpa lived next to me on a farm. He had a smaller dog, but he wasn't like tiny, like the small little purse ones. I think it's based on personality. I think your dog has a lot to do with your personality. And if I meet your dog, I feel like I can kind of tell like how you're going to be or like how you like live your life. As much as that sounds stupid, I think I can.
That worries me about like what my dog tells people about me.
What my dog says about me. Yeah.
If only dogs could talk.
Oh man.
We walk our dog all the time in the North Loop and down the riverfront there with our dog Sammy, and so it's amazing how many dogs are out there, right?
They're
it's
great.
like ridiculous amount.
Yes. When it gets warm, it's the best. Like I'm hoping here in the next month, everyone brings their dog out and we can just have a dog day. And like all my teammates have dogs and they always have doggy dates. And I was like, I have nothing to bring. I'll bring you baked goods and I'll just get to run around with the dogs. That's what I've always told them. I was like, invite me to doggy daycare. Like I would love to go.
Oh, that's
There's a dog bar called Unleashed in town, which is you bring your dog there. It's like a highway, like 4-lane highway race of dogs going back and forth. There's a big stage they can go on inside, and the adults just grab beers and kind of hang out and watch all the magic happen.
That's awesome. That sounds like a good time.
Is it a short list of breeds for you, or is it just any big dog and you're good?
My favorite dog, clearly from that video, is Bernese Mountain Dogs. They don't live as long though because they're big animals, but I like those. I really like golden retrievers. Labs are awesome. Corgis are super funny to me. I wouldn't classify them as small dogs, but like me and Grace Sunwinkle, who's my teammate, we've been on this kick of every time we meet someone or our teammates, we sometimes classify them into an animal or a dog breed. And she's my golden retriever to my black cat. So like we have a relationship like that. But we've been getting into the dog breeds. So like when you get to know someone, like someone's a golden doodle because they're a little bit like they kind of just do whatever and they go with the flow and they're just happy to be there. So that's kind of what we've been doing and we've been enjoying it. Sometimes we'll text each other and be like, "Ooh, what do you think so-and-so was?" And our teammates, we've made a whole list. So we have those all listed out. So we can always name them off if we need to.
That's awesome. Straight out of a Parks and Rec episode. And I don't know if this is like uncommon, but my golden retriever, she's like 85 pounds and she actually sploots like a corgi does.
Like out to the side?
Like her legs just like sploot outward. Like it's the weirdest thing. I've never seen a golden retriever do it, but
that's funny.
Apparently she does.
Cute. I think a golden retriever mixed with, I wanted a German Shepherd at one point. They're very cute, but that kind of makes me a little nervous. Sometimes they can have attitude issues. So I would say golden retriever mixed with even like a lab. I've seen those. So they're very energetic, but they're also very like nice and calm and stuff. So I really hope I get a dog one day. We'll see. Or I'll just live through my friends'
dreams.
Yes.
You had the experience of going to the All-Star game this year, like everyone's used to watching the NHL All-Star game and kind of the hijinks that goes along with that. What was your favorite moment of the All-Star game?
It was amazing, like to see not only the sport of women's hockey to grow in that sense and have that many fans and that many people wanting to see and wanting to be a part of that experience was awesome. I think just being behind the scenes and seeing like all of the background noise that people don't see at an All-Star game. Like we were playing soccer in the hallway and Michael Bublé just came up and started playing soccer with us, like just kicking the ball up and keeping it up. And he was actually really good, which I didn't expect. And then to see Tate McRae is my favorite singer and like performer right now. It has been for a while. And to see her live, I got to see her concert. I've seen her concert before, but it was very close to her. And then Justin Bieber and everything. So I think the whole experience altogether was awesome, and one I won't forget, and hoping to obviously have another experience in the future. But it was special that it was the first one.
Nice. And the coolest thing that I just saw pop up on my feed earlier today was some of the rule changes.
Yes.
Particularly, it's not going to happen in the NHL, I don't think, but I love that you guys are at least making a push. Being able to pick your playoff opponent if you're the higher seed. I absolutely love that. It starts rivalries. It gets way more intrigue from fans. What are your thoughts on it?
I just actually looked at that. I've been busy today doing that stuff, but Kelly actually and I, who was here with me baking, we looked at it and we're like, wait a minute. That not only causes controversy, it causes rivalry, and it kind of calls that like FU mentality into like, do you think that you want to play us because you've beaten us? You think we're the worst? Or it's just going to be a good matchup. So that's crazy. I'm very excited to see. And then obviously this wouldn't happen in our league, but people tanking based on getting a higher pick in the draft, to know that the fifth team will get the first like pick, and the sixth team, I don't really know how that's going to work, but I know that once you're out of playoff contention, you start racking up points after that. So that's crazy. I think that and all the rule changes we've had, as much as hockey's been great for the past, 200 years, I think within reason, it's fun to change things up a little bit, but keep things the same that make sense. Keep it like, keep the dots where they are, keep the nets where they are, but they have other things.
If you ask Jeff Merrick, he'll say just change the color of the ice and we'll be good.
Right.
But I didn't even know about the draft change, to be honest. And I have like long championed that, because I think it was Shane Doan came out and he like basically said, my kid was at a game today and he was cheering for the other team because he wanted us to lose and get a better player in the draft, because like that was a year that Arizona was in the tank. And he's like, that is not okay. Here's how we fix it. As soon as you're mathematically eliminated, you start accumulating points. And I have been obsessed with it ever since.
Yep. So I hadn't heard of that prior, but after seeing that today, I think that this is an awesome, not only start for us, but it's going to prove that if other leagues or other people want to do this in the future, that it can work, and that it's, incentive. I have never thought that in women's hockey, like as much as guys hockey, you don't have that much of there's so many teams, you don't have that much of a grasp on it. I think with us being by one entity, like all of us under the same one, I don't think that would happen. But even if it did, like, I guess we wouldn't know because we're not behind the scenes on every team, but I think it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to here at the end of the year.
Speaking of changes, I was curious if you thought this would be worth changing, is the rivalry series. Would you like to have it during season or summertime? Like, do you like to have it in a mix of your season?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of indifferent. I am not going to have any of my opinions put into anything serious. But I think this year it was a lot. I think since we started a little later, we did it, but it's one of the best experiences. Like, Rivalry is an amazing, tool, not only for international play, but for the fans to continue to know that it doesn't just mean that one game matters a year, and that's the championship of the gold medal game of the World Championships. To know that there's a lot more on the line, and it's a lot of switching up rosters and giving people a chance to, to get their shot and to do things like that. So I'm pretty indifferent. I don't know if it'll stay the 7-game format with just our league and stuff, but it kind of depends on when we want to start next year. And I don't think it's going to be January. I think it'll be a little prior to that. So it doesn't matter. As long as I'm playing hockey, it doesn't matter to me.
Right. Well, and maybe your familial allegiances over the border impact this, but being a Gopher, Team USA, who do you hate more, Wisconsin or Canada?
Oh gosh, I think it was in my time. I think it depends on season, but I definitely like Canada. I mean, at this point, like, it's a fuel to my fire anytime I do anything. And now, obviously, with the P-Dub and my team, we only have like a few Canadians, but not a lot of them are staples on the Canadian national team. So I think that helps me too, because our team is very much so US based and Minnesota based. We obviously have some people from Wisconsin, which I sometimes got to play against, but if I still had my Gopher jersey on, I would probably say Badger in the season, but Canada all day long for sure.
Fair.
my wife and I are expecting our first child in June, so baby names are on our mind. And I was curious, as far as names are concerned, do you and other teammates have a name suggestion for your current team? This kind of like, what would you name this group?
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
But I've said this multiple, like, we have a lady at our games who has a Purple Rain sign, because me and Grace Winkle have sent it to the media multiple times. And I like teased it a little bit on my Instagram. I think Purple Rain would be awesome, and like have a crown on the jersey. People have said the Rivalries. Someone said like the Twin Cities Kitties, which I actually at. It's so funny. Would never wear that on my jersey, but just to have people like be able to give names. I think it'd be fun to have a little like name competition and have people be able to, submit their opinions and to get fans involved and let us have a little bit of a say at the end, maybe too. Would be super cool. But I think, Purple Rain's probably my number one choice.
Hard to go wrong there. That's great. I mean, the merchandise would fly off the shelves. Like,
oh my gosh, the roots of it are just like Minnesota based. So,
and the vintage LA Kings jerseys are just perfect.
Yes. Oh, they're sick. Those are, we've done a lot with the Rain down in, where is that?
Ontario?
Yes. Yeah. So we've done stuff there. And then with the Kings and stuff, we've done a lot of stuff with USA Hockey in their performance centers and stuff. So to see all their stuff, I think that's part of the reason why I got kind of the thought of that. But no, it's been cool to see people get super excited on social media, obviously, when those, I guess, names were leaked. People were not happy about that. So to know that we're starting fresh, which probably was needed in that sense, I think is awesome to know that, we have that backing and that support. And people are going to give you their fair and honest answer, which I think is always something we want.
Totally. Yeah. And that Ontario Rain is like the Minnesota Wild logo to me. Like, it took me about 6 years probably before I realized it was not talking about Ontario, the province, that it was actually like a location in California. So I'll wear that one. And I don't know where we're at. Joe, did you have any other questions we wanted to throw out before our Waggle Golf question?
No, I think we're good. I appreciate your time, Taylor. I know it's been a little bit here, but we have a fun golfing related question. I don't know how much you golf, but we have a golf related question for you.
Yeah. Are you a golfer first, I guess?
So my dad's an insurance agent, and normally like they're like on the course, they do a lot of their stuff there. He just never did. And he never taught us how to do it. My brothers, I think in the past few years have gotten into it. My boyfriend's a big golfer. I've gotten dragged to the course a few times. I'm not horrible. But I'm not great, but I do I really like driving the cart. That's my biggest thing. As much as that, give me a drink in hand, maybe some country music running through the grass. I don't know. I think it's fun. I think one of my best abilities is putting, which is kind of crazy. Driving's tough. I have been learning a little bit as I go.
Fair. Well, yes, I'm definitely the beer, cigar, drive the cart kind of guy.
Yeah.
I feel
it's
that.
Fun.
Yeah.
You're making sure everyone else has fun. That's an experience.
That's right. And so we can take a spin on this if you want, but the Waggle Golf question, everyone get your waggalon.com and 10% off your order with promo code SP10. But the question is, who is your dream golf foursome? But I'll let you deviate from that if you want to have a foursome you build that you are going to drive the cart for and caddy, but you got to tell me then who your cart mate is.
Okay. That's funny. So I think I'm going to start off because I have watched when like the celebs get to do it. I'm going to have Steph Curry, basketball, hockey, like the collab. Yeah. I think he's going to be my buddy. I think he would also enjoy a fun time. I would probably pick, and then I pick Shaq. These are just so bizarre. I don't think people would agree with me, but I think Shaq, like, he is so funny, and he's done some golfing things in the past. I've seen him. And then Travis Kelce, I think would be super fun. And then I think my fourth, I'll go Kelly Panic. She's a really good golfer, and I've golfed with her in the summer. And as like hardcore as she is, she really helped me to like learn, and she would have a fun time with the guys. I might need to teach her a little bit more basketball related things, but I think that would be really fun.
Nice. And now, is that Travis Kelce for Travis Kelce, or are you hoping like Taylor Swift is lingering nearby?
You know, I think I would need to get to know Travis Kelce first, but I'm not like a huge Swiftie. I like Taylor Swift songs. Don't get me wrong. Don't come at me, people. But
be careful.
I think she's great, but I think Travis is a very interesting man. And I saw him. He did it's like I think they did it on Fox or something, and it's like they competed was Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and then it was Travis Kelce and Mahomes, I think, versus each other, and they got to do a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
So I watched that a lot, which I think is super fun. And Travis just looks like he's there to have a good time, and that's kind of what I would be there for too.
Very good.
That'd
answer.
be great. I mean, it's hard to fit you and Shaq in a cart together. I mean, he might need a bigger cart for
Okay.
him.
I would even sit in the back. I would let him drive because he would be fun too. He would be a fun time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such a fun conversation, and really enjoyed learning more about you. And obviously, it's been an incredible year for not only your team in Minnesota, but the entire league. So we're kind of excited to see who you guys pick for your first round opponent in the playoffs.
Agreed. We got to get there first, but I have a lot of faith in us and in the team that we are. So it'll be very good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Taylor, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.